All right.
Morning.
How are you?
Waking up. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Good. All righty. So finding your seat and also make sure you've got um, this little setup here. You got two chairs, backs of chairs facing in. That gives you your balance support to allow you to really challenge yourself. And then we sit at the front edge of the chair, hands on the thighs, and just a few moments of nothing at all. No movement, no overt activity, but we're getting central pillar. So we've got that middle pillar holding us up, and then we practice relaxing the body. Such a key piece to the way the Taoist practices and the philosophy see how we need to move our body more correctly over time is not be holding on to tension. So we're dropping that tension out, loosening up every relationship between head and neck vertebra and the other neck vertebra, the rest of the spine, the scapula, the shoulders. So the ideal body is one that is loose and yet has great integrity of structure. And then we inhale through the nose, long and smooth. And then out through the mouth. You're ready in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Let's do that, let's say 5, 6 more times. Allowing for the movement, the expansion in all directions. And then when you exhale, the settling, softening. You could say compression, but it's not forced compression. Now, there's a certain amount of loosening we can do just with our brain, our mind, our choice, but then we have to do these shen fa to actually get at those little stuck areas. So now we draw the hands and elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up, create a nice back arch. Go all the way in that direction. And then go the other way. Slide your hands forward past the knees, hollow the chest, drop the head, round the back. And let's just do this 4 or 5 times to free up, to loosen up where we are stuck. The human body can become a sort of prison, right? We can be sort of stuck in the body with all these limitations. And so practices like this, think of them as a jailbreak. We're trying to free up the bars of the prison so that we can have a little more room to explore. This also informs the brain. The brain tends to get a little bit unclear about the body map. And when we do movements with all the various joints, tissues, and different relationships, we're feeding the brain data, feeding the brain information about what's happening. So it's a really important relationship between movement and the brain. Now come back to neutral and let's do rotations. Left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, turn the shoulders, turn the head. And then we'll come back the other way. So turn back to middle and turn. Back to middle and turning. How far you turn is not important, right? A lot of times we think we got to force it or yank on the body in some way. Instead, just be relaxed and go to a nice comfortable rotation and then turn back to center. We're liberating gently and persistently. couple more each way. Again, this is more data, more information for your brain and your motor center. Last time. And coming back to center. Hang the arms and lateral. Lean, and then lift your left wrist up. Left foot could be empty here as you tip. Then back to middle, nice and tall. And then we lean, lift the right wrist, right foot empty. Back to center. This one's really important, right? Because again, if you, and I've seen this with so many people that I work with, and it's not just a Parkinson's thing, it's really just age. Like as the body is aging and the brain and body have less of a clear communication, we start to not know where middle is, or where we think our middle neutral position is, isn't. It's we're tipped one way or we're tipped the other way. So by going all the way left, and then back to middle, and then all the way right, and back to middle. Again, we're helping our sort of automatic system to have more information about, oh, okay, here is middle, right? So now stay in the middle. And very importantly, the scapula. So there's a reason we do these every time, because they're so important and they're the most complicated joint on the human body. Some people don't even know what the scapula are, or that they, when someone says your shoulders, most people think of this. But these scapula are so important to be able to move freely. They make us top heavy and clumsy if they're stuck. They also don't allow a grounding. We sort of like the muscle and tissue and energy gets stuck up here, where the saying in Tai Chi is top empty, bottom full. So right now we're actually emptying out what's in this upper chassis of the body. Let's go ahead and reverse. We go back, up, forward, down, under and back, up, over top, forward and down, under, back, up, over top, forward, down. And settle. Bend the elbows. To clear out this chassis even more, we flare elbows out and up. And then down, around in front, touch. Down, out and up. Down, around in front and touch. Down. 2 more times like that. So another principle in Taoist movement of a healthy body is freedom of movement through an entire range of the mechanism. So we go slow enough to try to stay soft and relaxed, but we also want to be thorough. We want to get to those end points. Now we go elbows back, straight back, down, forward with the hands over the shoulder, and then as much up as you can get it. And then forward, down, and back. Down and forward and up. Forward, down, and back. Down, forward, up. Again, the clumsiness and the top heavy thing that everyone's dealing with has to be cleared out. We have to clean out what the residue and tension that's in these various places, just like we would floss our teeth to get plaque out of the spaces in between the teeth. That's the same thing with the body. Elbows flare out, left hand high, right hand low, cross. hug around your body. Elbows out. Right hand high, left hand low, cross. And open. Left hand, right hand, cross. Open. Switch. Open. Switch. Open. Switch. Open. And release. Loose. Relax. Scoot a little bit back on your chair. Load your right knee up. Pull the right heel in and push. Reload it. And then put the foot on the ground. Other leg. Load it. Push it. Load it. Set it down. Load. Push. Load. Down. Switch. Load. Push. Load. Down. Load. Push. Load. Down. Again. Load. Push. And foot and ankle. We float the foot out and point, flex. And then we tilt the foot a little in, out, called inversion, eversion. And then we circle. And reverse, circle. Set the foot down. Other leg straight, point and flex. Invert, evert, tilt, tilt. Circle. Reverse circle. And scoot forward. Leg bone rotation in the hip socket. Step your feet wider than hip distance. Lift the toes. Turn toes and knees in. And then from the hips, turn toes and knees out. External rotation. Internal rotation. External. Internal. External. Internal. External. And neutral. Bring your feet back to hip distance. And from that same hip space, forward fold. Sit vertical. And then you're going to tip back from the hips. Vertical. Fold. Vertical. Back. So we want to be able to keep Zhong Zheng, or central throughness, central upright of the body, even as we fold from the hips. So we're not bowing and rounding our spine. Not to say we can't do that in a different context. There's times when we should, but we want to be able to be very clear on just hip hinging. Just hip hinging. Because that is the main central mechanism that drives the whole rest of the body. And so if this is stuck, we can do all kinds of different activity and force with the body, and yet we're going to be very clumsy. Whereas when we relax and loosen everything up, like we just practiced, spiraling, foot and ankle, straight and bend, we did rounding, arching, twisting, right? We did all this movement, scapular movement, so that there's some looseness everywhere. And then we're trying to say, okay, here's that central mechanism. So you slide your feet back from that central mechanism with everything else loose. Fold. Head, shoulders, and arms out beyond the ankles a little bit. And you just go a little forward enough so that the weight gets down to the earth through your feet. And you just push through the earth and stand nice and tall. Now the weight stays down below the feet as you float the hips back and you fold up these relaxed, soft parts and you sit down. So there's an elegance, a grace that Tai Chi and Qigong and Taoist movement allows us to do. But at first we have to drop a layer of overactivity, extra. We're doing extra. So by dropping what's extra and then focusing on the correct place from which to move, then there's this efficiency, there's this capacity for functional movement. And it's just so important as we age as human beings to get this right, to be more and more and more and more precise, because the window of mistakes gets narrower and narrower. And then you have something like Parkinson's kick in, and that's even more narrower and narrower and narrower, right? Now do a couple where you don't sit in your chair. So I moved my chair. Yours is fine. You keep it where it is. But now fold and sink, and then rise back to standing. And do that a couple of times where you're using this again as a functional movement to, let's say you have something in your hands, you got to get it to the ground, or you got to pick something up. You're going, okay, hip hinge, sink, and then you can set something on the ground or pick that something up and then push through the legs and come all the way up. So we're using this potency, this power of the body to execute this movement, but we don't have a bunch of tension getting in the way. Now, standing near your right side chair so that you can use it if you need to for safety. Level 1 of this exercise is from our middle, the belly button representing the middle, just change your weight over to your right leg a little bit so that you feel your left foot have less body weight in it. And then just change your weight over to the left leg so your right foot has less weight. Usually when people work on balance exercises, it's the initial way of thinking of it is pick one foot up off the ground. That's how we think of it. So then we grab the foot and pull it up and then try to hold on for dear life for balance. But if you kind of drop that idea for a moment and just think about this, where I'm relaxed and loose, you change the weight over to this leg here and you let this leg have a little bowing quality, a little springing quality. Now the weight has gone down to the earth and I've got my stability through this leg, and this one is now empty. So before I even try to pick it up or do anything with it, I have to change its status to empty. Now fill this leg and empty this leg. So from your middle, you change over to the left leg. You have to allow this bowing. That's another really important Tai Chi idea, is that this leg is not a wooden stilt or a steel beam that we're trying to make strong. We're trying to soften it. So it's more like a young sapling, a young tree. It has this bowing quality, right? And then we change. So this practice is a great one because you can do this waiting at a stoplight. You can do this waiting for at a coffee shop or a tea shop, or waiting in line at the grocery store, whatever. You can just be inside here doing one of the primary Tai Chi exercises of separate full and empty. Separate full and empty. And get to the point here where you can actually do something like slide or swivel and then change. So now this leg being full no longer has that slide swivel. This one has the slide swivel. And you might even start to feel that it's actually the hip that's empty. So it's not just down there at the foot and ankle. It's actually here. I've got it all over here. And now this hip is empty. It's spacious. So there's levity. There's freedom of movement. And then change over this side. And then change. So again, if all you did was do this practice, you'd be doing yourself a humongous service in terms of how to walk correctly. Because usually when it's time to walk, we think, okay, I gotta go, and we're out here doing stuff, trying to get up the stairs. We're forgetting that right here is the first primary thing to do, which is get that full and empty. Then this foot can step up on a stair, or take a step forward, or take a step backwards, or sidestep. But it has to be empty first, right? And we never think of it that way. People forget it. As soon as class is over, people go back to just walking instead of going, oh yeah, that really important sort of magic trick, right? So now put all your weight in your left leg, right foot being empty, just get up to the tippy toe. All right, so I'll turn sideways so you can see a little bit. The knee goes forward, the heel comes up, the toe is touching lightly, and then place the heel back down, empty, and then change the weight. So now it's full in the right leg, empty in the left, and then go heel lift, right, get up to the toe, and then place that foot down. And you notice something in my body here, there's some curve, right? I'm not straight like this with all this tension. There's this soft, right? And then with that, there's spring. It's like the body's a loaded spring. Change the weight, get up to the tippy toe. Change the weight. So we're emptying out everything that we're holding that's extra, dropping it out. Now, hand on the chair, as you go to the tippy toe of an empty foot, disconnect it from the floor, place the foot down with zero weight, and then change. The weight goes down through this soft bowing leg, tippy toe, disconnect, place it down, change. Weight going down through the leg, this one being empty, then it has levity because there's no weight in it. How do I get no weight in it? It's not through effort, it's through releasing down to the earth. At first, that's very difficult to wrap our head around, but the good news is it's eventually effortless. It's all about letting go of effort. Now, hand on chair, let's go full lift, back down, change. So again, we got central upright, weight going down through the leg, this one empty, lift, down, change. So 99% of what I got to do is softening, loosening, releasing, and then just this little bit of the mind telling the leg to lift and lower. And then 99% is, did I let go? Did I allow this leg to have a little bow in it? And then, oh, that's easy. One more. Now, have all the weight in your left leg. Put your right foot in front. Use the same technique to move forward in space by going down through this leg. And then backwards in space by going down through this leg. So I'm not leaning. I'm just relaxed and down. Relaxed and down. 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 So this teacup on your head isn't pitching forward and pitching back. It's floating. Floating. It's easy deal. Hand on the chair so we can go lift, lower, shift, and then as this back foot is empty, just do a little flamingo. So this one's important for many reasons, one of which is it's a test. When you lift this, can you be effortless or are you holding, right? Can you have effortlessness and softness through this bowing leg? And then same thing on this side. Can you allow that weight down through such that this lift is no problem? And then down. So you just train yourself to be plugged into the earth, grounded with nothing extra, everything out. Now, hand on chair for this so you can courageously, confidently lift, lower, shift, weight down, this leg free and loose and empty so it can lift, reach behind, change. Weight down allows this, free, loose, relax. Weight down, so it's this separation of full and empty. Complete separation that allows this, this swiftness in the body. All right, let's switch sides. So We'll side step over, other chair. Put all the weight in your right leg, or I'll say your outside leg, the leg that's far away from the chair we're using. The inside leg, put it out in front, level 1. It's a good time for no hands. You just change and change. 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 Just seeing how moving forward in space, as the only thing you got to get right is the down. The down. How do I get down? I let go. I stop holding on. A lot of times we don't even know we're holding on. That's what makes it difficult. To try to stop doing something we don't know we're doing is difficult. But the more awareness you develop, you can start to feel how you can really let go. Now, hand on chair, so you can do lift, lower, shift, and then this little flamingo, a little bend to the knee, down, shift, lift, lower, shift, little bend, down, shift, lift, shift. And then we go hand on chair for full lift. So really use the chair so you can get that complete lift and down without any weight. Then change, and same thing here. Can you go forward and up and reach the toe back with no weight? Then shift. So it's just a proof. It's proof that this is actually empty if it can do this full freedom of movement through that range. Right. Back to the first side. Put all the weight in your outside leg. Inside foot is in front. And shift. This back foot being empty, take a step and then shift. Shift, step, shift. Something we don't think about is that the movement forward is happening during the shift, but when we step, we don't move forward. So I don't get stuck to this foot and get pulled with it. The foot goes out, and then the shift is where that movement forward continues. The same thing going backwards. It's when the weight goes down through the leg, that's when the middle of our body moves back. We step without going anywhere, and then we move, right? So it's traveling through space, step without traveling, traveling through space. Traveling through space. Now we're stable and we're stepping with this empty foot and then traveling through space. And again, when we walk, it's as if it's just a constant flow. And the way that works is like your car. Your car has wheels. Our feet are like wheels. So it's like wheeling, wheeling. But that moves us. Our car is moving as if it's just gliding straight across. So that's how it feels in our body. We're just going glide, step, glide. And then glide, step, glide. Now, hand on chair, so you can lift, lower, shift. Now step over something. So sometimes in life, you got to pick that foot up, set it down out in front, and then travel. A little flamingo, down. And then we're traveling back, and this leg comes up, tuck, reach, travel. And then it's lift, lower, travel, step over, travel, lift, lower, traveling, up, tuck, and reach without traveling with that foot, and then travel. One more, lift, shift, step over, stable, down moves you forward, down moves me back, up, tuck, reach, down moves me back. Hand on chair so we can go full range, lift, then shift, and now it's heel, knee, foot, down, shift, and then we're going up, back, shift. Now it's up, tuck, reach, back, up, down, shift, right? So we're traveling, not when we're stepping, but when we're changing weight. And then this is up, back, right? I didn't travel anywhere. My foot's ready. Now I'm traveling by going down through the leg. Now, same thing here. I'm not traveling anywhere in space. I'm just moving and then traveling. And we're going to switch sides. Side step. Chair on the other side. Put all your weight in your right leg or your outside leg. Inside leg is in front. Level 1, casual. Just change the weight, step, change the weight. And change the weight, step, change the weight. Change, step, change. Change, step, change. Change, step, change. Just easy movement through space. Now, hand on chair, lift, lower, change, step over something. So the foot is empty. Should stay stable, easy, relaxed as you step over, even until you touch the ground, and then you change the weight. Flamingo, down. So one of the sayings in Tai Chi, 1 full, 3 empty. So 1 full, 3 empty. 1 full, 3 empty. So the arms are empty, but so too is this leg. And then 1 full, and this is empty. And every time you do this correctly, you're cultivating and developing your middle pivot, because it's at this middle pivot place where this changeover is happening, where the full empty happens, then the full empty changes back, and then the full empty changes again. Let's go level 3 here, lift, down, full empty change. Then you can do full range of motion, and then from that middle pivot, change. Then this is free to move, and then change, and then change. So inside here, I'm kind of using my hands to mimic sort of the idea of what's happening. There's this changeover that happens, and then this changeover that happens. And when you start to find that inside pivot and you're relaxed, then you start to feel this balance and stillness and agility while you're moving in space, while you're going up and down stairs, while you're going downhill, uphill, up a curb, while you're traversing the world, right? It's this that makes that possible. All right. Now, move to the far left of your space. Turn and get somewhere so that you have a runway of room and your chairs are arranged so that in case of emergency you can grab it. Level 1, we just go a walking. Keep that idea of the middle pivot like I just described. You're just from the middle pivot changing full empty, changing full empty, changing full empty. And then we're going backwards. Change full empty, step. Change full empty, step. Change, step. 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 So this combo, this paradox of totally loose, but not sloppy, totally precise, but not rigid. So it's got this swagger to it. It's got this just kind of easy cruising across the room, cruising back. and up and over, shift, up and over, change. Anytime you pick that foot up and you feel, whoa, totally unstable, remember that what you're probably doing is tightening to try to do something that you're better off relaxing. Relaxing. It's a very strange sensation in the beginning when we're so accustomed to using effort to do stuff. We don't realize, oh yeah, just underneath that effort is the hydraulics, the loose fluid system that we can develop and cultivate and, again, make more powerful. One more, maybe full range, where you go, again, only if you're feeling really loose and stable and grounded, go for this full range. Heel, knee, foot, down, change. You notice I'm not taking a huge step forward, but I'm using each round to really free up the relationships between the legs and hips and the leg joints and each other, right? The knee and the ankle and all that. So the size of the step is less important, especially in the beginning. Eventually you can run using all the same feeling of ease and looseness. But first we have to establish this relationship between through to the earth, through my loose body to the earth, and back. Now, turn and face forward. Put all your weight in the your left leg, out, in. So we're going to do that a few times. Your weight's in this outside leg and you're stepping out and in. Importantly, notice how my body is not moving in space at all. So my foot is going out, foot is coming in, as opposed to if it's glued together and stuck together. When this goes out, my body goes and my body goes. We don't want that here for this exercise. We want out and in. This freedom of movement of the leg bone at the hip socket or the quad. Now step it out. Now do put all the weight here. Keep this foot on the ground and feel this quad open. And then close this quad, open this quad. And then close this one, open this one. And then close, open. So now my middle pillar is moving in space. Moving in space, but my feet aren't moving. So I'm actually cultivating dynamic space and separation inside of my structure, which gives me freedom of movement and agility. Now, down through your right leg, left foot being empty, it can step in and out, body not moving anywhere in space. So just this foot being free. Now bring this foot in, keep it in, feet together, change the weight. So now my body does move through space, but not very much. But it is moving because I'm changing my middle to be down through this leg, and then I'm changing so it's down through this leg. But keep your feet touching, like get as close together as you can, which forces you to find the down to the earth. Down to the earth. Because we're so accustomed to leaning and tilting, but when we get in this narrow space, we have to really relax to be able to free this foot, and then really relax to free this foot. Now, weight down through your left leg, step right foot out. Weight down through your right leg, step left foot in. Down through left leg, step right foot out. Down through right leg, step left foot in. Down, step, down, step, down, step. So we're moving sideways through space without any listing, without any leaning, right? We're just vertical, chill and relaxed and going, okay, step, change, step, change, step, 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 step. there and back one more time. Out, shift, in, shift, out. Middle pivot to groin area. Right open, left stays closed. Then you close the right, left open. Then step in, change. Both quad are closed, but the weight goes down. Opening the quad a step. Closing, opening, step. They're both closed, weight down, 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 down. Loose, light, limber. Chain, 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 chain. And again, Chris, I'll remind you, you know where what your head is doing, right? Your head's doing this the whole time. So I understand you might have to be looking at the screen, but ideally you'd move the screen up so that you could be standing vertical, right? Vertical, right, as best you can. Now, let's come to the center in between our chairs. Now we've got all the weight into the left leg. Right leg can turn out, but also turn the hips a little and turn your shoulders and turn your head. So you're now aiming that way. But again, remember 1 full, 3 empty. So the 1 full is this leg, and the empty quality through here is what allows us to safely turn and look that way. And then back to neutral, and then turn this empty foot in, hips turn, shoulders turn, head turn, but yet it's still full. Then turn out. So all of this range of movement, we want to be able to turn, look to the left side of the room, and maybe even look over your shoulder behind you. And then turn and look over the other shoulder behind you. So the loose quality allowing for this freedom of movement through all the parts. But the leg is important. So the foot's important that we turn it out, and the hips and the shoulders and everything, but also this leg here, turning it not just neutral, but in, right? Internal rotation. Turning. And turning out. And back to neutral, switch. So now make your right leg the full leg. Now your left foot is empty. Rest of the body empty, and we're turning left foot out, hips turn. So we're looking this way. And then we're turning the foot in, body in. And then we're turning everything out. Maybe even looking over the shoulder behind you, and then turning in, looking over the other shoulder behind you. So this type of work, you see this footwork in Tai Chi, but you really start seeing what's called Bagua. Bagua. It's this turning and twisting work where we're wrapping around and spiraling inside of our body, right? Because again, our body's built to create these interesting spirals, but we normally don't do it. So then when we get to be our 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, all these spiral mechanisms are totally useless to us unless we practice and bring them back online. Back to neutral. Now let's use that to change our orientation in the room. So we're facing this way. We want to orient that way. So turn the right foot out. And then the weight just goes down through the right leg, bring the left foot around. Now we're oriented this way. And then put the weight in the left leg so your right foot is empty again, and turn the right leg and body out. Loosen, empty. And then the weight goes down through the right leg. Now you're reoriented this way. Do it again. Left leg takes the weight so that right foot is free. Body turns, foot turns, and then chain. And again, down through the left leg, turn, and chain. Down through left leg, go around twice. Chain. And make sure, Lana, when you do it, make sure you don't do this thing that everyone does, which is before you empty this foot, you just turn on the heel. The key is the subtle quality of first I've emptied this foot, then I turn it out. My foot is not touching the ground. So I'm making sure to actually have emptied everything so that I'm not just going, because this is what most people do, they stay stiff and then they just grind and turn. So make sure you're going empty and loose, then chain. Right? So you first empty the right foot, then turn, not just the foot, not just the leg, the hips, the body, everything turn. And then bring it around. And once you get all the way around facing forward, then we're going to go the other way. So put all the weight in the right leg. So the left foot is empty. Turn the leg, the body, the shoulders, everything turn, and then chain. Bring it around. Weight down through the right leg, turn. Chain. Down through the right leg, open. Neutral. Down through the right leg, turn, open, and neutral. Go around twice. So it's this separation of empty and full that is subtle, and usually we just rush right past it. In an effort to move, we forget that there's this initial softening, loosening, subtle quality inside. Once you're facing forward again, then instead of right leg and body turning out, turn right leg and body in. Change the weight to the right leg, bring your left foot to match it. Put the weight through the left leg, and again, turn everything in. So it's a closing, and then a neutral. And then the right foot and body turn in, a closing, a sort of pinching close in front, and then you go to neutral. Closing in front, neutral. Closing in front, neutral. Closing, neutral. Closing in front, neutral. And let's go the other way. Left foot closing in front, neutral. Closing, neutral. Close, neutral. Close. Closing, neutral. And then finally, let's put them together where we go right leg and body turn out. Put the weight down through the right leg and then bring that left foot and turn in. So we close. So now we're passing through neutral and we're going open. And then we're passing through neutral and going closed. And we're using that capacity of the mechanisms to open and close to go all the way around down your middle to turn 360 degrees in space. So opening, changing the weight of that leg, and then closing. And now I've turned 180 degrees in 2 foot movements efficient. Let's do it the other way. Opening, change the weight down through the left leg and close. Open. Change the weight. And not just feet together, close. Change the weight. Open. Change the weight. Close. Open. Close. And back to facing forward. Hands together. Rub your palms. Rub the back of one hand. Palms. Back of other hand. Palms. Quad. Hip flexors. Tail. Lumbar. And then like you're sitting for a squat, stick your butt back. As you sit your buttocks, sweep the hands down the outside of the legs around to the inside. And then as you stand back up, come up the inside of the legs to the navel. And let's do it again. Quad. Hip flexors. Tail. Lower back. Outside of legs down to the outside of the feet, around to the inside, standing up, come up to the navel. Last one. And then finally, up the outside of one arm to the shoulder, turn down the inside to the wrist, and then off. Outside up over the shoulder, turn, off. Repeat. Switch. Outside, turn, inside and off. Outside, turn, inside and off. Loose. And close. Belly button, we seal the practice by going one hand over navel, other hand over that hand, and then thank you, everybody. Great job. All right, any questions of any kind? Feel free to unmute and ask or comment. Otherwise, have a lovely day. All right, thanks, folks. Enjoy.